Good afternoon. I am Rochelle Johnson, the host of The Living Room, Real People, Real Talk. And the word of the week is vision.
Hey, and I'm Diane King, your co-host. And the scripture today is Habakkuk 2:2. And it is, then the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain on tablets, that he may run who reads it.
So we're back with part 2 of here with Trenton New Era. And Trenton is we're going to continue the conversation. He's going to continue to inspire you, uplift you, and encourage you to take your path that God has chosen for you. So we're here with the rap. I gave y'all time. Diane, you got your rap together. Let's see how Diane.
I'm not doing. Y'all do not want to hear a rap battle. For me is a comedy show. So
I hit the beatbox you on it.
okay, I don't know.
Okay, let's see who can flow the best between the co-hosts.
Well, I have to go first.
Go ahead, Trent. Give her a beat.
We gonna do this?
Yeah.
I can't. I'm already
Too
out.
fast?
No, I just don't know what to
Do
say.
her
Nothing's
slower.
coming to mind.
Come on, Diane.
This real talk we don't. This is real talk we don't want to have.
Okay, give me a beat.
I'm gonna be the judge. Let me withdraw from the competition.
Yeah, good. Well, who I'm gonna compete with?
Him.
Give me a judge. Give me a beat.
Goodness.
Give me a beat.
Wish I had like a pencil in the desk right now.
No, I like to do
Give her an old school beatbox.
Just freestyle.
I can't freestyle. Hey, no, I'm just kidding. Let's talk
How about
you.
even better, Trent? How
you
about
give us
you
something.
give us something?
Yeah, give us a little
Rochelle
something.
and I are going to withdraw from the
Right.
competition because we don't want to make it a
Sure.
comedy show.
Right.
Okay.
Go ahead, give us a little something.
Overlook and criticize. I don't want revenge, I'm just taking what's mine. My aim is not to be the best rapper alive, but I can't help if it happened along the line. It's much more important to go and save lives. Stuff ain't about you all the time. You realize it wasn't about you the whole time. And this is God's plan, and you ain't a God. No, get in tune with your purpose. This ain't happened overnight, man. This was on purpose. Everything you go through, no, it has a purpose. Before she knew I made music, she said, son, I think this your purpose. Wow.
So you just came with off the cuff, or you?
No, it was a verse from one of my songs, Can't Stop Now. There's a second verse off of that song.
Well, do a little piece from what you did in the play. Listen, we had rehearsal, and Diane, when Trent was trying out for his part, I was like, oh my God, he don't even have it. This boy came out and blew the play away. We was like, Trent, where'd you get it? He pulled it from out of nowhere. I was so
Well, no,
amazed.
I felt like the first day we all got together and we practiced.
yeah,
he just kind of spoke. He was like, okay, well, yesterday and tomorrow,
Right.
think the vision,
Right.
get on it, God, yeah, okay. And I was like, where'd he come from?
Right.
And then you said, Trent, say it like you're on stage already. And then boom, all the passion came out. I was like, yeah, I like this.
Yeah.
I see it now. Because I was like, ooh. So yeah.
No, you should definitely practice every time like it's serious. It's
Right.
a bad
Absolutely.
habit of, because I'll be feeling like it's weird to just
Come
you
out
know,
with all
at
the
once,
passion.
but when it's performance time, I'm definitely ready, and I practice a lot by myself. When I'm in the car, I'm by myself. I'm always practicing.
Do you ever stand in the mirror?
Not necessarily, no. Just mostly when I'm in the car or I'm by myself, because I have a wife and 3 kids. So when I get time to myself, that's when I really focus in.
And so if you hear anything,
practice.
that's his wife and 3 kids.
I don't get a lot of alone time.
Right.
You know what? I've done public speaking, and I noticed what I always do before I perform, before I go out and speak, is I always clear my throat and I go, hello, my name is Diane King, because one time my voice got caught in my throat and it made me nervous. 'Cause I'm not really a nervous person. But I always clear my throat right before I go out and speak. And it's just amazing how it just
How much
really
that helps.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah,
just something that small. Do you have a ritual like that?
Or do you get nervous?
I get a little nervous. Before the play, I was nervous because you have a whole script of lines you gotta remember. When I'm writing songs and my stuff, I know my stuff.
Right.
You know, so I'm good, you know, but that play I was actually very nervous because I'm like, I cannot be the one. I will not be the one to mess up this whole play, but it all worked out. So
Was that your first play?
Happy. Yes.
And you did amazing. You know what? When I get nervous, I always have to use the restroom. But I stand back on the back of my legs and then I can just speak. But it takes a lot to perform in front of, especially if the stage is this close and you can see somebody. I never look at the audience. Do you look at the audience?
I look out at the audience when I'm speaking, but I don't make eye contact with anyone.
Okay.
So when you look in general, people feel like you're looking at them. Even if you stare in a general direction, they're so far away they can't necessarily tell that you're not looking at them. But you don't want to lock into someone and then they make a face or you get distracted.
Cause I psych myself out, you know, when I'm going to perform and stuff like that. Cause I'm confident in myself and the work I've already put in. You know. Right before I go on stage, it's like, I got this. I'm ripping this up. Ain't nothing more else to do. I'm gonna destroy it. So you kind of gotta psych yourself out. You gotta be overly confident in your field and
take a deep breath too. That will work. If you feel yourself getting too worked up, that deep breath really kind of resets yourself. I don't know if you've ever done that, but those are the two things. And I really don't get nervous at all. I mean, if I'm at a banquet and they're like, hey, our presenter is gone, can somebody come up? I'd probably be like, hey, I got this. I don't care. I feel like we're all just, we're all people.
Right.
And we all say silly things. And when I say something ridiculous, I'm like, okay, note to self, don't do it again.
Right.
You know, and then I keep moving.
From experience.
Yeah. Do you ever have that happen to you? Or
Man, I'll tell you this, right? And we are rolling. Yeah, so like I was saying, I was just talking about psyching yourself out. So I'm a naturally good performer. So I was kind of just feeding off that, and I was just doing performances. And then I watched the video, and I'd be like, that was terrible. You know?
So you thought you did really good.
Yeah, I'm confident, I'm rocking, you know, crowd rocking and all of that. And then I go back and look at it, and I'm like, I could fix this. Why am I doing that with my arm? Why am I, you know?
Right.
So definitely experience, you know, actually going back and looking at yourself and critiquing yourself.
There's a difference between being overcritical and saying every little thing versus a real self-evaluation. How do you not cross the line where you're like, oh my God, I look terrible, but the crowd's rocking, everybody's like, man, you did a great job. Because sometimes we go overboard on ourselves and we expect perfection, and that's not realistic.
Well,
so where's the difference?
It's different for me. Like when it comes to rap and my field and my craft and my career, I'm very overly critical. Because this is my career. You know, now as far as me being a person, yeah, there's some things I've done and mistakes I've made, but you know, I take that up with God. I talk to God, and we kind of move on from that. But when it comes to music, when it comes to music, I'm very critical.
Yeah, because I noticed when you did your thing in the play, I asked Trent to play about 4 parts. He was like, "Hey, that's
like
enough."
6. I had like 6 parts. I was changing costumes.
But you know what? He was like, "That's it. I'm only doing this. I can't do no more." But what I loved was the last part that God told me to fix. I was sleeping that night, and God said, "Change this." And it was a critical part in the play where the metaphor was you were running from the slave master in 2018. And then God said, turn it around. You're still running.
But it's the
from
cops.
It's the cops in 2019. And this is, I mean, when you played that, it was so emotional. I just started crying because when I seen that, we're still running.
Yeah.
And listen, I want you to keep running. towards your career. Run to what God has for you to do. Pass the torch to your son, and your son pass it to his son's son. So Trent, tell us, where can we reach you at? This was part one. He talked about this clothing line. So let's finish about your CD. Tell us, where can they reach you at?
Well, my best point of contact is my Instagram account is It's a New Era 2. ITZANEWERA number 2. Actually, this shirt I have on, this is kind of a new style that I'm dropping this summer. And this is more so like how I dress. Like, that changes like every 6 months. But this is how I'm dressing right now. So I want to offer people like, for the way that I want to dress, if they want to get these kind of shirts, they can just contact me. I do have a website, but it's under construction right now, so that's why I'm saying contact.
You don't want to give it yet?
Instagram.
Okay, well, we can always add it
Until it's back
to.
up.
We can always add it to the site later.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it'll be back up.
Can you talk about your shirts real quick again, just so they can see the two different brands that you have right now?
Yeah, definitely. This is Believer. The name of my company is Be a Believer, LLC. We have the two different lines right here, the God, my President, and the Believer. And I don't know if people could see close or really see in detail what this logo is, but it's really Jesus hanging on a tree versus a cross. And
why did you do that?
Well, it was a vision that God gave me in 2011, and that stemmed from one of my home pastor, Bishop Donald Sanders, the church I grew up in. There was a sermon he probably gave, and I was like real young, probably 9, 11. He gave a sermon where he was talking about Jesus died on a tree instead of an actual cross. So that kind of stuck with me, you know. So when I got older and I thought about this clothing line, I kind of researched it out. Yeah, I researched it out, and like I said on the first part, it took a lot of research and a lot of, oh my gosh, I done dropped my own CD. That's what I get for playing with it, right? But it took a lot of research, and I really took my time with it, because, you know, it's very serious. You know, and people of God, they always ask me about it, and how do you feel about the cross versus the tree type thing. So
But that was your inspiration.
I definitely feel like it was something God planted, like, for me to do, and for me to bring out.
Okay. So that's where you got the inspiration for the first shirt. I got the inspiration. And then again, I know you mentioned it in the first part, but if somebody just tuned into the second, where was the inspiration for God, my President?
Donald Trump.
Which,
to be
usually
honest and upfront.
No, but it's good to have him finally be used, turned into a positive light. So how did that come about? Can you explain that again?
It's just about, no matter what happens, God is my president. So no matter what's going on in the world, with the government, with the president, my God got control of all of that. And that's why I'm like, God, my president.
We know there's a bigger picture and a greater purpose. So we leave it up to God, and we'll get through this time.
And we always respect the seat, but we don't necessarily have to agree what's going on. But what I found out, instead of talking about it, you can really, because we have the power, and the power is in our knees and praying that God will deliver and set free. I remember there's some, I'm not going to give no scriptures because I want them to be correct, but I remember I need the numbers to be correct. But in the Bible, it was a story about when they didn't have a king, and they said, we want a king, we want a king. And then when God gave him the king was a taskmaster, and he put rules down. He was just unbearable. And so we got to be careful when you say, oh, I want this president, I want this president. But listen, I love what you said. God is my president. God is in control. So inspire a young person who might want to go into this field of being a Christian rap artist.
Well, I feel like you definitely have to follow your passion. I was just telling my friends about a week ago, I was like, when you do things solely for money, you may not, because that's not your passion, you may not do it long enough to really see success from it. Music is not an overnight success. And for people who were overnight successes, they're gone as fast as they came. So in order to build like a long career, it really takes time.
Takes time to learn the
Yeah.
industry, to learn yourself,
That-
to
and-
learn.
and
There's
that's
so
the-
many parts to it. We just see the end result. We see the lights,
Definitely.
camera, action side of it, but not the grind behind it a lot of times.
And then with the producers, I mean, you got to be careful who you select to be your producer if you're not self-producing, because there's a lot of people that get hooked up with people who are crooks. So
Well, that's where knowing the industry and learning the industry comes into play, and I thank God that He gave me time to actually learn that side before I put something out. So I own all my music. I don't owe anyone, you know. So I'm grateful that I had that before I actually put something out, you know, because
If you had
it happens
rushed,
a lot.
you
Yeah,
had
it happens
rushed,
a
you
lot
might
where
have
people music gets stolen or they sign a bad record deal, things of that nature. It's happened a lot.
So do you copyright your music? When
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
but it takes a while. You know, it's like a 6-month process. You can go to copyright.gov and you put in your claim and you pay for it. And I mean, that pretty much protects you until the actual copyright paper comes. But
Yeah. So something I want to reflect on that you said earlier in the first episode was that you got to a point where your now wife gave you a vision. She kind of said, "This is who you're going to be. I see it." You know, God spoke to her, and she spoke to you. He spoke to you, and then you said you went through this point where it was the secular side. And then you started writing the gospel side, but you were living more of a secular lifestyle. So can you talk about that transition? How does someone get through that transition? Because if you're now saying, hey, somebody might be saying, you know what, I have been writing the wrong thing. I've been feeling this way too, and I want to transition. You can't just boom and wake up. So speak on that?
you have to be true to yourself. You know, being a Christian hip hop artist, and a lot of Christian hip hop artists, they shy away from saying they're a Christian hip hop artist. They're like, I'm an artist, you know, which is true. But I don't have a problem saying that I'm a Christian hip hop artist because
Claim
that's
that
who
title.
I am.
Claim that
you know,
title.
And the thing is, it shouldn't feel like a force. You know, you shouldn't be writing and you have to force yourself to say things or to be a Christian artist. You're a Christian, you make music, so your music is an outward reflection of who you are on the inside. Right?
So if they're having that struggle, are you saying if you have that struggle, stop holding on to that other side? Or are you saying if you have that struggle, maybe you're not a Christian artist?
I'm saying you have to be true to yourself regardless. Now, my situation, I had already made that change, and then I started going back and doing some old things that I shouldn't have been doing. So then it was confusing when I was trying to make music, because it's like I can't make that music and I'm doing this.
I wrote this,
Right.
but last night I lived a different life.
I can't do that. So I would recommend for anybody that's in that time period in their life, to kind of step away from music and get your life together first.
Amen.
And then, you know, the music will be there. You know, and the music will come out natural. You should never have to force yourself to put some words on the paper.
So maybe take a little time, take a break for self-reflection, and
yeah,
and
that's the most important thing. Period. Like, you know, I love music and this is my career, but the most important thing is our soul. You know, and our relationship with Christ. So definitely get that together. Get that together, and then when you get that together, I'm pretty sure what you have to say will be a lot more powerful. Because I wouldn't be able to write these lyrics and rap the way that I rap without going through things that I've been through.
You believe it. It's not just words on paper. It's real belief. It's who you
are. It's literally what I've been through.
And then it's a message.
Right.
It's a message that you're trying to relate to.
Or testimony.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah, it's like a testimony / wisdom I've learned, you know. So
Hey,
I
check
would-
out my testimony. I am here to give.
Yep. You know the funny thing.
I want to rap
No,
so bad. What?
The funny thing about that is like when I told y'all about the night, right, where my wife told me all that stuff.
Right,
So when I told my uncle about it, because I was already doing secular music, I had a couple songs that my uncle was like, we finna make a music video, we finna get some girls, this finna go, you know, right? So then when I told him I was switching, he was like, all right, so what's your new name gonna be, right? Because my old name was AKA, for also known as, because I feel like I had a lot of different parts of me and I'm very versatile. But when I told my uncle, he's like, what's your new name gonna be? And I asked my wife too. She was like, your name, she gave me like 3 choices. It was like, one of them was Testimony and one of them was New Era. So when I told my uncle about this, he was like, yo, fool, my name Testimony, and I was like, no, I'm not that, I can't do that one. So it was New Era.
And I like that because it's a new era in your life, and you might have had some errors, but you took this path, but now you're on this path. So I like that name. So
Yeah, it's literally a name God gave me. I don't believe in kind of just making your own thing. I mean, if God gives it to you, yeah, but God literally gave me the name New Era. So I knew there was a higher purpose than what I could see at the
Right.
moment for him giving me that name.
So a shout out to your grandmother and grandfather who helped raise you, to your uncle, to, like Diane said on part 1, to the village, and now you're about to be a father of
Again for the third
your son.
time.
Any day now.
Yeah.
Yeah, two
So
days.
you have a name?
Yeah, Jackson.
Jackson,
His name's gonna
okay.
be Jackson.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 days. So I'm very excited about it. We're very ready for this new edition.
Oh, she's ready. She's
Oh yeah,
definitely ready.
she been. I'll be having to watch her because she'll try to just hide a baby on me. She's so ready for that baby to come.
Lord.
She trying to get that baby out of there. So
Well, good.
He'll
We're
be
excited
on
for
Wednesday,
you.
for
This
sure.
has been an excellent show, and I know that our listening audience have been encouraged. And someone is out there saying, I want to be somebody. I want to do something. I want to aspire to go higher. And Trent has just given you the path. He said, let God do it. He said, trust in God. Take the path. Listen to what God is saying to you so that you can go that way. Trent, before we go, we always like to pray for our listening audience. You did such an amazing prayer on the last segment. I was like, go ahead and preach,
I was
brother.
just showing my real
So-
Christian skills. Well, I am a minister also, so.
See,
Gotcha.
we had a whole
Right.
hour. You just bringing it up.
Right.
in the last
I'm
couple minutes.
sorry.
No, that's okay.
I'm sorry.
But okay.
We might have to reserve another
slot time slot in the future, definitely. But real quick, what about, I mean, we talked about engineers, we talked about writers, you said you're the deliverer in this case with the rap artist. Do you think people, even if you might want to rap, what about the other areas? I mean, maybe speak on that. Give somebody some inspiration because sometimes, like, I wanted to play sports, and then when I came to America, I had a really bad
where are you
counselor.
from?
I was born in South America, and I grew up in Toronto. And I
That's
came here in 8th
interesting.
grade.
Raptors! Woo
I came
woo!
here in 8th grade, and I had a really bad counselor, and she said, do you want PE or athletics? And I was like, well, what's athletics? Her answer was, it replaces PE. So I thought it was for the kids who didn't want like the study of and
like an
alternative to not
PE.
getting out. And so in Canada, you played in PE, you dressed out, you played the sport, and then you put, they would announce, anybody interested in joining volleyball, sign up today. That's not how it is. Athletics is actually, you choose your sport.
play
She
the
didn't
sport,
tell me
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So I didn't do it in 8th grade, and I ended up becoming an athletic trainer, paid for my college, it paid for everything. So instead of being that star athlete, I was behind the scenes, but it changed my entire life. So can you kind of really quick, we only have a couple minutes left, but maybe before you pray, speak on not having to be the main focus to still be part of the music.
Well, it takes a team, you know, like I said before, and there's a lot of money in music and behind the scenes, you know, maybe even more so than the face, you know. So there's a lot of money in producing and beat making and engineering,
Filming.
engineering, songwriting, and You can get your music, put on films, put on games, you know, if you get a license. So there's a lot of money in it, you know, and
So even if rapping is not actually performing doesn't work out for you, don't give up. If you love music and love the industry, still it
takes a team. No rapper, regardless of what they say, I'm self-made and all of that. No rapper got to
where they are
by themselves.
Amen.
By themselves. You could be the best rapper, but if you ain't got a good engineer, no one's gonna listen.
Okay,
you know, so that's actually more important.
Good. Well, thank you for that. I just wanted to touch on that. So now can you pray?
Yes, pray.
Alrighty. Our Father which art in heaven, we thank you for keeping us safe and bringing us together for this union, God. I pray that anybody that's watching this broadcast, I pray that their heart was touched, God, and that they're inspired to do whatever it is that you have them to do, Lord, and what they have to offer this world, God. So I pray that you continue to keep us safe, God. I pray that you continue to keep our minds clear away from any confusion and make your purpose clear to all of us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, Trent, and I will see you next time, and probably at the hospital when his wife is
I'm pretty sure.
But Diane, thank you so much. We had another great show in the living room.
Thank y'all for having me.
You're welcome. Real people, real talk. That's what we do. I'll see you next week. Be encouraged. Be inspired. We love you.
Yes, Trent. Thank you for taking the time to come on the show. Thank you for being with us. Rochelle, thank you for another great episode. Yes. We will, real quick, God, my president, get your t-shirt.
Do I have a minute or 30 seconds?
Yeah.
30 seconds? Okay. So I want to show y'all what this is. This is actually my flag. So, you can get a good look at this.
Oh, okay, cool. It has believer on there.
Okay, yeah.
I love it.
So, this concept, this is a believer flag, the official name for it. Well, basically, this concept came from, gangs. They have their flag to show what they represent. So, why I can't have my own gang? Why we can't have a
God's gang?
All right, put your hand. Go ahead, put your hand.
Yeah, we gotta put the flag on.
God bless you. Be a believer.
This is something new, so I'm doing so. I just wanted to.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Be a believer.
My name is Bill Dorsey, and this is my first time performing with We Shout Productions and Entertainment. I'm very excited about it.
My name is Special Skills, and I am going to be the soloist for the play Love Has No Color.
Yes, my name is Dempsey Wells, and I'll be playing the role of Mr. Jones.
Having worked in corporate America as a black man, you experience a lot of undertones, and you can definitely sense or feel the differences in the different colors.
Thank you. I'll start talking. New era, yeah. New era, tell them it's a new era, yeah. Looked in the mirror, said what's up? I will never switch up, cause a couple bucks